All right, folks, well, it is that time of season again. It is time to start planting. It is a windy one today. I'm hoping the sound comes through. But first thing we did is we've got our corn patch all set up and ready. We're going to be planting corn today. We also have our bean area ready to go, which is over here. Last year, I think we tried doing cucumbers over here and it was a disaster. So we're going to go back to doing our green beans here. We are using the Ruth Stout method, no-till, for our potatoes. We tried it the first year. We didn't get a single potato, but we're going to give it another shot this year and see what happens. So this is going to be our potato patch. Now Jen has been growing some herbs, and she did the tower method. This is really freaking easy to do, and it's awesome, and it looks cool out in the garden, which is really nice. We also went through and we cleaned up everything. I still got to clean this area right here, this part, but we got rid of most of the weeds. A couple other things we did differently this year is the trusses here. We had this big monstrosity of a fencing up, and honestly, the cucumbers never really grew and filled it up. So we're going to go this route this year. I'm hoping that it will be sufficient. In years past, this has been where we have grown our winter squash and summer squash and zucchini. And usually this entire area is just completely covered. So by putting some fencing in here, we are hoping that we can get our veggies to grow up them and have not so much be on the ground where we are having to walk on it. But we'll see. All right, so having said all of that, we are going to start planting our corn and a few other things. We've got some corn, some carrots and beets and onions going over here. So yeah, let's get started. So the first thing we're going to do is use our hoe, and we're going to draw our rows into the ground. Once we make our rows and we break up the rows using the hoe, then we'll smooth it out so that we have a really nice soft media to plant the seeds in. So now that the rows are made and are soft, Jen will walk through poking the holes for spacing, and then I'll go through and put the seeds in. Well, we've got our corn in. Now all we got to do Just let Mother Nature do the rest. Okay, so the next thing we're going to start growing are our green beans. I'm going to clean this up a little bit, get some of these weeds out of here. All right, well, we got our beans done, and that's pretty awesome. All right, so today we are planting some onions. But the first thing I gotta do is I gotta bring some dirt over there. So in this first bed, we're going to be planting some red and white onions. But to prep the bed, we're going to add some topsoil, and then we're going to break the topsoil up. We're going to rake it in to make the bed as level as we can. Once we've got that all sorted out, we can go ahead and start planting. So my plan for this is pretty simple. I'm gonna go ahead and lay out everything first so I can see where they are, make sure the rows are relatively straight, and then we're gonna go ahead and push these guys into the ground. Okay, so we've got our first row planted. We have our red and our white onions in here, and we're pretty excited. We're going to start on this row next. We've got yellow onions and kohlrabi going in this one. So let's get started. All right, so now that we've got the topsoil added, I'm just gonna take the rake it out, kind of level the top here. And then we've got to put our yellow onions, and then we're gonna also plant some kohlrabi, right? Kohlrabi?
Now you got me saying kohlrabi.
Kohlrabi, all right.
We've also got the bunching onions.
Oh yes, we're putting bunching onions in here too. So,
bunching onions and
cool.
Then the kohlrabi.
Yeah. All right, let's rake it.
I started to say the exact same thing that you said.
Okay, so the next thing that we're planting is our bunching onion, and it comes on this ribbon, so yeah, it should be pretty easy. So the kohlrabi is in a strip as well. It's taped. We only need 3.5 feet to get started. Once the kohlrabi grow up to, I think it's 2 inches in height, then we can thin it out, and we'll have a total of approximately 60 in this row here. So
Go down your way a little bit. Okay.
all right.
Right?
Yep. And these are carrots. Yes? Planting the carrots. Cool. Got the carrots in.
Carrots are in.
Carrots
Right.
are in. Now we gotta do the beets, right?
Beets on the other side, starting on the
Beets on the other side. Okay, so we have all of the, well, we have these first 3 boxes planted. The 4th box here, we've got to wait until our loam arrives, which should be here at the end of next week. But we did want to get these planted first. Yeah, we're pretty excited. You know, we've got the 3 rows done. We've got the green beans here, and then we've got our corn all planted. We've also got our rhubarb that's growing, and our chives are growing, and Jen has her herb garden growing, which is this little tower right here, which is pretty awesome. Yeah, it's a great start to the garden season. We do have to run out today. We've got to take Miss Matcha to get some shots, and while we're out, we are going to look at getting some veggies for the garden. We're going to see what they've got. We didn't do any seeds this year, primarily because we had a lot going on. We've got to get this greenhouse going. That's where we plan on doing our seeding next year. So it just made sense given how busy and all the projects we had going on. So, but yeah, we're going to go to the store. We're going to go to town, go to the store, see what we can find in terms of veggies, and get Matcha her shots. Okay, so we are back. Matcha had to just get her shots, so Matcha's all good. And we got some veggies, and we're gonna put those in tomorrow, and we'll show those here tomorrow, but for you guys it'll just be a minute. Right now the day is coming to a close, and Jen is out watering flowers, and I'm going to water the garden. All the seeds that we planted today, those are ready to go. So when you don't know where your nozzle is, you end up using whatever you can to water. Ain't that right, Jen?
Yes, it is.
And right now we're supposed to be putting that in the lawn and letting it do its thing, but it works pretty good.
We're gonna get these seeds wet.
It works pretty good as a nozzle. So we have a very small window of opportunity here to get the rest of the garden planted. So Jen is over here right now. She's getting the beds ready. I have just come over to our compost pile, and I've got ourselves a wagon full of compost. And I want to show you what this looks like. I think it looks pretty good. So this is compost that we started, oh, I don't know, what, 2 years ago, hun? And it still has a little bit of material in it, but it's going to work out perfect for us. As I was digging it out, plenty of worms, and yeah, so we're going to go ahead and get some of this put into the beds so we can start planting. Planting is the easy part. Getting the beds ready though to be planted, oh, that takes quite some effort. It's actually kind of exhausting. The loam that we use when it gets dry and it's like it is now, it's kind of hard pack, and holy smokes, it's tough to break up, but we break it up, and once we break it up, it's really nice for the season. And then when it sits all winter long, next year we'll have to break it up again. But that's okay.
So I am trimming off all the real low leaves, and I'm going to bury it all the way up to here, because all these little hairs are going to grow into some roots and give it a nice solid root system.
Nice. And you do that to all of these?
I'll do it to the tomato plants, and I also add a smidge of Epsom salt, and I have crushed egg shells that I've been gathering as we use the eggs. Put a little bit in each hole, then I put some dirt on top of the hole, of the stuff, and then I put the plant in. And we had some amazing tomato plants last year.
Amazing.
And the tomatoes grew.
Were massive.
I had 2 fists most of them.
Yeah, it was a hell of a harvest, that's for sure. All right, so we've got our cucumbers, our big cucumbers. We've got our winter squash. We've got our zucchini. And we've got some yellow squash. We have our pickled cucumbers and our green peppers, our tomatoes and more tomatoes. And we still have more tomatoes to plant in these small bins here. The herbs are doing good. We've got a little bit of growth going on, which is awesome. Now that we got most of the stuff in the ground, makes us a little bit resting a little bit easier now, knowing that the stuff is really, all we gotta do now is water it and make sure it grows. So the next step for the garden is we've got the small boxes over here that we've got to do. We also have one more box here that needs to be planted. We've got some celery we're going to plant over by our green beans, and then we've also got the potatoes that need to go in over here in the Ruth Stout garden. After we've done that, we'll be done and we can kind of kick our feet up for a little while. Not too long though, because that's getting started this week. We're going to start working on the foundation, get it cleaned out on the inside. That's a whole nother conversation though, but that is coming real soon. But as for the garden, we can see the finish line. We're almost there. Not quite, but almost. But anyways, today's Memorial Day, so we're going to go kick our feet up for the rest of the day. We will finish our planting tomorrow. As far as this bed here is concerned, that's going to be another week because we're waiting on loam. But we'll get everything else in the ground tomorrow, so stay tuned because it'll just be a second. All right, folks, it is the next day, and we have finished planting all of our potatoes. We didn't do any filming. It really wasn't very exciting. We basically threw some potatoes out there and put some straw on top of it. We also got our celery in. Check this out. So we got our celery in. I'm pretty excited about that. Now with the celery in, with the potatoes in, the 2024 garden season is in full force. We've got everything that we wanted planted. We do have a few things that we're planting outside of the garden, like sunflowers, and we've got our blueberry bushes and our strawberry patch. But other than that, we are golden, we are ready, we are excited. Well, having said all of that, thank you so very much for sticking around and watching this video. I hope that you enjoyed it, and stick around because this garden is going to be a great, great garden this year. We'll see you folks on the next video.